A few months ago, a pop culture icon was rebooted, known as the world's oldest teenager. No, not him. It's Archie Andrews. His long-running series ended at issue 666. It was rebooted with a new #1 with the intention now having some of the best creators in comics to illustrate and write the stories. The new series, it seems, will be broken up into different story arcs, and each different set of creators are going to do each arc. So let's take a look at the first 2 issues of the series. But right before I do that, how about a little heads up about the Archie series. It started in 1941 in Pep Comics number 22. The Archie tales are about a group of teenagers that get into comedic and silly adventures. Normally there's a love triangle between Archie, Betty, and Veronica. I'll talk more about them a little bit later. This particular story begins with Archie breaking the 4th wall and telling the reader the setup for this story. He just broke up with Betty Cooper. Since they were the it couple of the school, everyone is talking about them and they're all plotting how to get them back together again. Because if they can't make it work, then what's the point with love? To be young again. Here's something that's fun that most people won't understand the point of. Each issue is broken up into chapters, a possible nod of how comics were done back in the Golden Age. There'll be 4 chapters. We also see and get a good idea about the different characters' personalities. So let's take a look at the 3 main characters for the first 2 issues. The first one is Archie. He's a good-natured but clumsy guy. It's obvious that this breakup as him as hard as it did Betty, but he's trying to get through it his own way. He's trying to find something to do, whether it's playing music in issue 1 or trying to find a job to make some money in issue 2. Basically, he's just trying to keep himself busy so he can not think about the breakup. You know, typical guy behavior. Next is Betty Cooper. She's nice but very determined. She's in the dumps too because of the breakup, but instead of just moping around, she's planning on doing something about it. What? We don't know exactly yet. I guess we have to keep reading to find out. I also like the fact that she's mechanically inclined in this particular series. I don't remember that being part of her interest in the past, but it's nice to know that the writer, Mark Waid, adds something to her repertoire. And the final main character in the first 2 issues is Jughead Jones. In the past, he's been written as in aggressively, slovenly, and hungry. While some of those aspects are apparent in the first 2 issues, he is a bit deeper than that. Our first sample of this is with 1 page when we learn why Jughead hates money. We also learn later just how much, despite his appearance, he really does care about Archie and Betty. And he's the only one that's using any common sense in the school and seems to realize that trying to force them back together isn't gonna be the best thing for them either. They have to make that decision on their own. To quote the comic, what they need is to be reminded of what they're missing. Now let's take a look at the writing. As with most Mark Waid written works, this one is great too. It takes tired concepts like breaking the 4th wall or having a gang of students scheming to get 2 lead characters together, and it doesn't make it seem as cliche as it is. Also, the dialogue feels realistic, and it's nice that he didn't feel the need to force whatever current slang or teen talk into it. Because he avoids that, this comic won't seem dated in 10 years or so. Also, with the way the comic is set up and written, you don't have to know anything about the Archie franchise in order to enjoy it. And you get a good idea of the main cast personalities in just a few scenes. The artwork. It's Fiona Staples. While it's gonna be temporary because she also illustrates Saga, it's good to see Fiona Staples draw something that's not fantastical. The illustrations resemble the characters, but they also look more realistic, which is interesting because Fiona Staples' art style is a bit sketchy and cartoony, but it has a realistic tone to it, if that makes any sense. The coloring is by Jen Vaughn and Sim Manowicz. Oh, well, words. Sorry I butchered that. And the coloring seems to match her own art style as well. I thought that initially she was doing the coloring like she did with Saga, but no, they just seem to be in sync with each other. Now, this is usually where I go into the pros and cons about the work that I'm reviewing, except I can't really think of any real negatives that stand out. Well, maybe there's just one, but it's a minor nitpick. It's Mark Waid and Fiona Staples aren't the permanent creating team, and I wish they were. I guess I'm just being greedy. Maybe Mark Waid could be the permanent team, but I'm sure Miss Staples worked on this during her hiatus from Saga, which will be ending shortly. The hiatus, anyway. After all, not very many artists can do 2 monthly titles at the same time. Well, okay, maybe one more con. There is a growing cast of characters, and even though we're only 2 issues into this, the only characters with any development so far is Archie, Bay, and Jughead. I assume Veronica will be next, but we are going to need to have some of the secondary characters stand out in order to keep this series at a high level. Also, hopefully the secondary characters won't have the hive mentality that they did the first issue. So, do I recommend this? Yeah, it's a great series. It's the type of series that anyone can jump into, and so far it's all ages, even though I'm thinking that might change in future issues. Right now, you could be 8 or 9 years old, and I think you could read it, but that might change in a couple issues, so let's just say 13 and above. There isn't any sex or nudity or deep immature themes yet. While that may change, so far so good. I won't do another review on this until this particular art is out in a trade or paperback. But for now, it's a great update of some iconic characters by some great creators at the top of their game. What's not to like? Everyone should check this out. And until my next video, goodbye.